Welcome to Fresh Perspectives, a series with people who have insights, who have built their professional identity on the quality of insights they bring to their organizations and their clients. Today, I'm with Andrew Dyckhoff, founder of Strengths Unleashed, who see energy as the gateway, as the key to performance. Andrew, why energy?
Well, John, firstly, we live in very testing times. And when we talk to CEOs around the world, they are very concerned about energy levels in their organizations. We are seeing unprecedented global events, the return of warring factions. We've had COVID, we've had Russia invading, we're teetering on the edge of recession around the world. So people feel that pressure, and energy in organizations is under huge pressure.
Okay. And what's at Strengths Unleashed? What's your take on the energy challenge?
Well, we passionately believe that organizations, when they do their job right, create environments in which people can be highly energized. And what that means is that they get a sense of fulfillment from their work. They do good work. Indeed, they do great work. And as a result, the business thrives and society benefits.
Now, I know at Strengths Unleashed you're very hot on data. What's the science behind this?
Yes, the key insight here is when we looked at what is it that leaders need to do for their people, there was one outstanding factor. Across 6 million surveys, people said we need our leaders to inspire us, to motivate us, and to energize us to high levels of effort and performance. And when you look at the data and actually ask against the global benchmark, how do leaders actually perform? You might expect that it would come somewhere in the middle. That would be some people who are really good at it and some people who are less good at it. The startling fact is of the 19 that we measure, inspires and motivates comes last.
Wow. Wow, that's quite extraordinary. I mean, after 20 years of people talking about inspiration in the workplace or more, isn't that just incredible?
It is. And of course, what that means is we've become very good at talking the talk, right? We know it's important to inspire and motivate our people. We talk about it, but the reality is far away from that. And so we've actually created a bigger gap between reality, experience, and expectation. And I suspect that that lies at the heart of why the engagement surveys reveal across the world that senior leadership scores very low, typically 40%.
Wow. Let's dig into that a little bit more, because that sounds like a pretty crucial gap and a pretty crucial insight in terms both of engagement and of performance. Why? What's behind it? I mean, if we've been aware of this stuff for 2 decades, if leaders have been aware of this stuff for 2 decades, how is it possible that we're not focusing more on energy and on inspiring people?
Well, I think it's how we think about our organizations. So the metaphor that we use is we think about the organization as a vehicle. And so what we're really good at, and it's partly because it's easy to measure, is that we create a strategy, we hire people, we build systems and processes, and we design KPIs that we can hold people to account against. What we pay less attention to is what's the fuel in that system. And we would say from 30 years of working with organizations that the fuel is the organization energy.
So as organizations, we've been focusing on the car and not on the fuel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Probably not just in organizational terms either. In more ways than one, we've been focusing on the car and not on the fuel.
Indeed.
What a great distinction.
Yeah,
so go ahead. Yeah.
So one of the metaphors that you can use for this is the hot air balloon. And if you think of an individual organization as a hot air balloon, in order to keep it in the air, you constantly need to top up the energy because energy dissipates over time. If you want to be more successful, you need a lot more energy to lift the weight of the balloon up higher into the sky. And I think this is a really good metaphor for organizations. The people who are responsible for energy in the organization are the leaders of the organization. So if you think about a formula, we've said for years that strategy plus execution equals business results. And really what we're saying is that the true formula is strategy plus execution times energy. And energy is the multiplier in that situation.
Wow. And once again, just reflecting on the classic formula there, we again tend to focus on the car and not on the fuel. So it's
Yeah,
really
I mean, look, what's a leader there for? What's leadership development there for? Is not to do leadership development. It's to make the business more successful and create environments in which people thrive. So if you focus on the output, the energy, and the capacity of the leader to energize not just individuals, but the system, because one of the things that we're still too wedded to the concept of the hero leader. And what we fail to reflect often enough and take practical action on is the fact that the system you create is influencing individual behaviors. And the leaders of an organization are responsible not only for their interactions with their colleagues, but also thinking about the whole system. Have they created a system that's inherently energizing?
So you're pointing here towards the energy of the system, not just the energy of an individual leader.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, clearly it starts with the individual leader. So if I, as a leader, am not energized, if I'm not paying attention to my mental health, my physical well-being, and therefore I'm not bringing energy into the workplace, clearly that's not right. And there's a huge amount, quite rightly, going into making sure that leaders around the world are looking after themselves. The whole well-being agenda, where we used to pay lip service, I'm delighted to see is being taken really seriously, as it should be. However, from an organization perspective, that's only entry stakes. So what it is, you need the leader to engage with the people around them in a way that's both authentic to them, right? Not all leaders are enthusiasts. You have leaders who are experts. You have leaders who care. You have leaders who inspire by driving for results. We need them to become experts in their people. They need to understand what energizes you, John. How do I get the fire lit in your proverbial belly? Because that's not what I do. It's not what lights the fire in my belly. And so, in a way, leadership we get wrong. We talk about it's the leader when actually it's about the follower. It's about the people you work with. It's about your peers. And so, becoming truly expert in engaging with your peers and your direct reports is vital.
Wow. Wow. What would be good examples of that? Or put another way, how, when you go into an organization or your team goes into an organization, how do you measure this rather indefinable fire called organizational energy? What are you looking for?
Yeah, well, what we're looking for, John, is not the energy itself, because it's a bit like electricity. You can't see it. What you can see, though, is the impact of that energy. And we have a template evolved over the last 30 years where we know what a highly we know what a highly energized organization looks like. And so what we invite you to do is actually benchmark your organization against that. So unlike engagement surveys that are essentially input measures, this is an output measure. So that is our starting point. We ask, what's the impact?
That sounds like a great starting point, but today we're approaching our finishing point. I'm very much taken with this metaphor of the car versus the fuel and how we've been focusing on the car. Any parting shots from you, Andrew, before we wrap up?
Yes, I think a great insight from one of our clients, which was if you're focusing on the fuel, you don't have to change the vehicle. You just need to put more fuel in it. And in a world where we're overwhelmed, we don't need more change, but we certainly need more energy.
Wow, what a great way to finish. Thanks, Andrew, for your time today.